on this note, I would like to invite Engineer Christine Mugimba to make her presentation, which is an overview of what UCC is up to in this space. But I would also like to mention that the UGSAT that the keynote speaker alluded to has an exhibition at the back of the room. So when you get a moment, do check them out and see the capabilities that we have over there.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocol observed. A lot has been already said since morning from the opening remarks of the ED and the keynote address. So my presentation is really going to look at where Uganda is, sitting at the global level, looking in, which is very important because as cybersecurity, we are as safe as the interconnectedness that comes globally. And there is no borders when it comes to that. Uganda already has frameworks in place, and many of us may know, but reputation is good. We have the National Cybersecurity Strategy 2020-2026 and the Digital Transformation Roadmap, which runs up to 2028. This is aligned to the Digital Uganda vision, but also we know that we now have a new development plan, and cybersecurity is critical. Sometimes we take this for granted, but those of us who have been in the sector for long know that there was a time where ICT, even as a name, did not feature in the National Development Plan. Now, let alone cyber security. So for us to have cyber security as a key pillar, that alone says that from the political perspective, there's an aspiration before we get into how we are doing. And that alone means that we can have those conversations at the highest level in the country, under the ministry, who are the policymakers. And so when we are talking about these issues as a sector, even as CEOs, as SMEs, when you talk about these issues, they are not far away. They are well understood. And why also this is very important, because the driving of digital transformation, and I saw the video, I think it was from MTN, where they say they think cybersecurity at the beginning, in the mid, and the end, means that as you drive your digital transformation roadmap, you're also inherently looking at the security aspects, which is good. And especially that we are bringing on young demographics. Uganda is a young country, bringing on children to join this. We want them to be safe from the beginning. From the global perspective, we have the International Telecommunications Union. I'm very sure that the people in this room have heard this song sung by UCC, but this is a UN specialized agency that helps to set harmonized standards related to telecommunications. And they do have an index that they run, which was launched in 2015 to see how we are doing in different pillars. And when I go through the pillars, you see that a number of them have been touched on. So it's a 5-tier system, and it categorizes countries in those 5 areas, depending on whether you are a role model, whether you're advancing, whether you're established, evolving, or you're just starting out. And this is very critical because it helps us at a country level. You may be doing alone. I'm going to underscore the issue of collaboration. You may be doing well, yeah? Those of us, I'm sure CEOs here have nice houses, but I don't know about your neighbors, eh? I don't know about your neighborhood. So what usually happens when people find that their neighbor doesn't match their house, they shift, yeah? They shift to another neighborhood where they want everyone to speak the same language. It's unorganized estates and all that. But sometimes you don't have control over that. You have to go through the road that has potholes. You can't be on an express highway all the time. So it's very important to know how we are doing. So this global index classifies commitments of countries globally, and I think this is important also for investment and CEOs. You want to be able to know how is Uganda committed to all this, yeah? Where are they? And we look at the legal. Everything starts with the law. I think legal people, we need we need the law. We have the technical aspects, organization, capacity development, and cooperation, and those are the scores. So Uganda, we are not doing badly. We are establishing ourselves, building foundational cybersecurity frameworks. So, and this reflects a middle stage of cybersecurity, but I thought I should also highlight that we are doing the same with our neighbors, because you are safe as your neighbor, but that was what also that means that we can speak the same language at the EAC level to pull ourselves up. Okay. Yeah, so those are the different measures, the different pillars. Okay, this is a bit, you may not be able to see it from where you are, but just to delve into Uganda, where we are doing very well. Our relative strength is in technical measures, organizational measures, and cooperation measures. There is potential growth for legal measures and capacity development measures. In terms of the legal measures, we scored in that index 16.4 out of 20. And most of us know that we have the cybersecurity laws. We have 5. We have the laws, which we all know, the e-transaction, computer misuse, signatures, the Data Protection and Privacy, and also the Anti-Pornography Act. Those have different aspects. We also know that in the financial sector, there is the National Payment Services Act that also pulls in the security issues. But these laws are very important. But how come we are where we are in that perspective and not doing better? It's the part of it is the implementation of those laws. Uganda is known for having very good legal documents and policy documents, but actually following through those. So a lot of it is implementing it. I know usually when we think about enforcement, it doesn't augur well with people here. You think like you're closing. But in cybersecurity, it's more looking at risk control, putting in place controls, risk mitigations to enforce those measures. Like I'm sure all of you have some sign-ins on your phone. I hope your phone is locked, or maybe you have trust, although we are being told to have zero trust, which is anti-Ugandan culture. We are told to trust everyone, but cybersecurity is advocating for zero trust. But so the enforcement is really around that, the policies that you have as organizations, the good initiatives that we have seen and the thoughts in the videos and the initiatives, how are you looking at them? Also, there are evolving threats for which, and I think we are all aware, that we need to continuously align. In the technical measures, 18.2 over 20, a part of this is measured based on capabilities that are either at a sector level or the national level. So at the back, feel free to interact with what we have as that, but a number of the ISPs here already have benefited from these services. We have a Digital Financial Services Security Testing Lab. There is no reason why you should not go to test your app in this lab before you roll it out, and instead want to suffer the stress of a hack in your app, which could have been detected at the time of testing. That resource is there. Feel free to use it as and when you're upgrading your apps and so on and so forth. We have a threat intelligence monitoring, and most of you plug into it. We have sensors, honeypot. I think one of the CEOs did mention that they have allowed the SAT to have these probes, and these ones are able to proactively monitor the age of your networks and see, sort of like how you put honey somewhere and see how many bees are going to come in. So, and of course the digital forensics after the fact during the investigation. So we encourage you, these are some of the capabilities that are looked at at a global level in a country to see whether actually you have what it takes to detect, manage, and respond to incidences. We need, though, to have more of these also at industry level. The keynote speaker did mention that, Audrey, beyond what the STAT may be offering. In other words, that UGSTAT is not the start and stop of what you can do when it comes to capabilities, and I think we know that. So it was uploadable to see the initiatives from the CEOs within their organization, but collectively it would be good to begin to see, for example, what information sharing is there between an internet service provider, regardless of whether the pipeline is telecom, fiber, or something else, because at the end of the day, the thieves are looking for the path, the data and where it's going. Standardization is good because it brings assurances and trust that you're all using the same standard. And I think we know this usually when you're integrating your networks or when you have third parties, you want to see, I see in the video, one certificate being displayed to say that you have a cybersecurity professional. People usually look for, let us see their certifications, their CISAs and all that, because it brings assurances that you have the competences and skills to be able to undertake this. Those of us in Uganda who have been reading the series of the Katanga murder, okay, I find them intriguing. It's just the way it's being investigated. But part of the piece was the forensics, and the forensics people were being quizzed, about the exhibits and all that. So standardization is very critical, so that even your evidence and your investigation can actually be relied upon. And so we should not take this lightly. I will note those are there for us to know. I think key among them that came out recently, and I would like to thank the board. Oh, it's not moving? Oh, sorry, I'm moving here. Sorry. I'm on that slide. Key among them, our board recently adopted the minimum cybersecurity guidelines, which we consulted with the sector, and you did give input to them. These ones, really, the basis and the motivation is that we have a harmonized standard of looking at cybersecurity and what we are doing, and to sort of have a guideline, a checklist for you to say, okay, if I have cybersecurity, where am I at? And so we hope that once we shall publish the document for you, that you begin to see where you're doing, how you're doing, and UCC is aware that we are at different levels, and so we shall be doing like a 6-month glide or waiting to see how that is operationalized. So please do make use of this when you do receive them. What we lack, and the keynote speaker also talked about the issue of childline protection. You know, we sweat and stress in this realm of cybersecurity. Those of you who have cybersecurity experts, they will tell you that it's highly stressful, while nothing is happening, and even should anything happen. But I think more so for the future generation, and we have a role to play in protecting this. Otherwise, we shall leave pipelines, networks, high-speed networks with no people, or with people who cannot interact with them. And so we lack this at a national level, strategies that home in and look at child online protection. I'm also looking forward to seeing more innovations that speak to the children, even in our sectors, when it comes to some of the things we do, whether you're fighting spam and so on and so forth. Coordination has been talked about, coordinating at a national level. We have different agencies, ministries, but being able to coordinate and have, even whether it's with Anita who looks at the e-governance services, or different agencies in the financial sector, there is room for improving such coordination so that we can be able to respond. September 9/11, when the World Trade Center was bombed down. So part of the investigations that came was that, and I watched a documentary after, was that there were different information was known by different agencies, but it was never shared. And so sharing of information and coordination is very key, and it actually does help, yeah? However small it may be, for example, our UGSAT releases on the X handle, and some of you may be monitoring it, vulnerabilities that arise issued by different agencies, maybe saying there's a gap in this equipment. We are sharing this just to show you, it's not a name and shame, but just to show you that we are human beings, and I encourage us to also do these campaigns. Maybe write us an email from the CEO. You know the things that get your staff attention, and see what happens. But for example, the results revealed that there was a high average fish prawn rate of 45.4%, and also that there was low reporting of phishing attempts by staff, and you can see we are there.